Just eat it, Amanda. Stop being so difficult. My mother's voice cut through the kitchen as I stared at the shrimp pasta in front of me, my throat already starting to tighten. At 16, I learned that protesting only made things worse, but the sight of seafood made my heart race with anxiety. "Mom, please," I whispered. "You know what happened last time?" "Nothing happened last time except you being dramatic." She slammed her hand on the table, making the plates rattle. "Your father and I are tired of your attention-seeking behavior. These fake allergies, the constant complaints, it ends now." My name is Amanda, and for as long as I can remember, my parents have refused to believe I have severe food allergies. Every reaction was dismissed as acting out, every medical concern labeled as teenage rebellion. But my body knew the truth, even if they denied it. The pattern started when I was young. A peanut butter sandwich that left me gasping, dismissed as a tantrum. Shellfish that made my face swell, blamed on me, rubbing my eyes too hard. Each incident was explained away, my parents growing increasingly frustrated with what they saw as manipulative behavior. "Your sister never had these problems," my father would say, gesturing to Kate, my perfectly healthy older sister who could eat anything without consequence. "You're just jealous of the attention she gets for her achievements, so you make up these stories." Kate was their golden child, straight A's, soccer team captain, and never a single complaint about anything she ate. Meanwhile, I was labeled the problem child, the one who created drama, at every family meal. That evening, as I sat before the shrimp pasta, I could feel my sister's eyes on me. She knew. She'd seen my reactions, witnessed the swelling and difficulty breathing. But in our house, supporting my delusions was forbidden. "Eat it," my father ordered, his voice leaving no room for argument. "You're not leaving this table until your plate is clean." With trembling hands, I picked up my fork. Years of conditioning had taught me that resistance was futile. Maybe if I just ate a little bit, took tiny bites, I could minimize the reaction. The first bite felt like fire. Almost immediately, I could feel my tongue beginning to swell, the familiar tightening in my throat starting. But my parents' expectant stares kept me eating, tears sliding silently down my cheeks. "See," my mother said triumphantly as I forced down another bite. "Nothing's happening. It's all in your head, just like we've been telling you." But something was happening. By the third bite, my breathing had become labored. I could feel the heat spreading across my face, the telltale sign of hives beginning to form. Still, I kept eating. What choice did I have? "I don't feel good," I managed to whisper, my voice growing hoarse. "Stop being dramatic," my father snapped. "Finish your dinner." Kate shifted uncomfortably in her seat. "Dad, maybe." Not another word. He cut her off. "We're not encouraging this behavior anymore." I made it halfway through the plate before the room started spinning. My attempts to draw breath became increasingly desperate, each inhale a struggle against my closing throat. The fork clattered from my shaking hand. "I need help," I gasped, but my parents had already started clearing the table, deliberately ignoring my distress. "Go to your room if you're going to act this way," my mother said coldly. "We're done entertaining these theatrics." I stumbled up the stairs, barely making it to my bedroom before my legs gave out. Through blurry vision, I could see my face in the mirror, swollen, covered in angry red hives, my lips taking on a bluish tinge. This was bad, worse than previous reactions. Using the last of my strength, I grabbed my phone and sent a text to the only person I thought might help, Mrs. Wilson, the school nurse who had always looked at me with concern when I refused cafeteria food. "Can't breathe. Parents won't help. Allergic reaction." As my vision started to darken around the edges, I heard my phone ping with her response. "Sending help. Hold on." The last thing I remembered before losing consciousness was the distant sound of sirens and my mother's angry voice downstairs saying, "I don't know who called an ambulance, but Amanda is fine. She's just seeking attention." But I wasn't fine, and finally someone was going to see the truth. I woke up to the steady beeping of hospital monitors and the concerned face of Dr. Martinez. My eyes struggling to focus under the harsh fluorescent lights. My throat felt raw, my body weak, but I could breathe, really breathe, for the first time in hours. "Welcome back, Amanda," Dr. Martinez said softly. "You had a severe anaphylactic reaction." If Mrs. Wilson hadn't called emergency services when she did, she let the sentence hang, its implications clear. My parents stood in the corner of the room, their faces a mix of anger and embarrassment as they spoke with a stern-looking woman in a business suit who I'd later learned was Sarah Thompson from Child Protective Services. We had no idea, my mother was saying, her voice lacking its usual confidence. She's always been dramatic about food, but we never thought. Never thought. Mrs. Wilson interrupted, stepping into the room. I'd never seen our gentle school nurse look so fierce. I've been documenting Amanda's symptoms for months. The unexplained absences after family dinners, the swelling I've observed, her anxiety around the cafeteria. I've tried calling you numerous times. We never received any calls, my father protested weakly. Really? Mrs. Wilson pulled out a folder. I have records of 17 attempted communications, including emails and voicemails. Each time, I expressed concern about Amanda's possible food allergies and recommended medical testing. The CPS worker's pen scratched against her notepad as my parents shifted uncomfortably. Amanda, Dr. Martinez turned back to me, her voice gentle but firm. I need you to tell me how long this has been going on. I glanced at my parents, years of conditioning making me hesitate, but something had changed. Maybe it was the medicine making me brave, or maybe I was just tired of suffering in silence. Since I was little, I whispered. The peanut butter sandwich when I was 6. Shellfish at Aunt Linda's wedding when I was 9. Every time they said I was making it up. She's exaggerating, my mother cut in. Children often. Mrs. Parker, Dr. Martinez's voice turned sharp. Your daughter's blood tests show extremely high levels of antibodies consistent with severe food allergies. This isn't imagination or drama. This is a potentially fatal medical condition that's been repeatedly ignored. I watched as the color drained from my parents' faces. The hospital has already conducted comprehensive allergy testing, the doctor continued. Amanda shows severe allergic responses to shellfish, peanuts, and several other foods. She'll need to carry an EpiPen at all times. This isn't optional, it's life or death. The CPS worker stepped forward. Mr. and Mrs. Parker, we need to discuss your daughter's safety plan. Forcing a child to eat known allergens constitutes medical neglect. My parents looked shell-shocked, their carefully maintained facade of perfect family life crumbling around them. My father opened his mouth to argue, but for once, no words came out. That's when Kate burst into the room, out of breath and still in her soccer uniform. Amanda. She rushed to my bedside, tears in her eyes. I'm so sorry. I should have done something sooner. I should have. Ms. Parker, Mrs. Wilson interrupted gently. Would you like to share what you told me last week during our conversation? Kate straightened up, wiping her eyes. I've been sneaking Benadryl into Amanda's room, she admitted. After the reactions, I knew Mom and Dad wouldn't buy any, so I used my allowance. I have pictures, too, of the swelling, the hives. I've been documenting it, just in case. Catherine, my mother gasped. Why would you? Because she's my sister, Kate shouted, surprising everyone. Because I was scared she would die. Because every time you forced her to eat something that made her sick, I had to listen to her struggling to breathe through our shared wall. The CPS worker's pen moved faster across her notepad. I'm recommending immediate medical intervention and family counseling, she announced. Amanda will need to stay in the hospital for observation and will need to discuss supervised visitation moving forward. My parents stood frozen, their world of denial finally shattered. The evidence was undeniable. The medical tests, Kate's documentation, Mrs. Wilson's records, and my own body's violent reaction to the shrimp pasta. As the adults discussed terms and conditions, Kate squeezed my hand. Things are going to be different now, she whispered. I promise. Looking at my sister's determined face, Mrs. Wilson's protective stance, and Dr. Martinez's professional concern, I felt something I hadn't experienced in years. Hope. For the first time, my invisible illness wasn't so invisible anymore, and I wasn't fighting this battle alone. The 6 months following my hospitalization brought changes I never thought possible. The court mandated that I live with my Aunt Claire, my mother's sister, who had always been the family rebel. Unlike my parents' pristine suburban house, Aunt Claire's cozy apartment was filled with mismatched furniture, art supplies, and most importantly, a kitchen completely free of my allergens. Here's your new medical alert bracelet, Aunt Claire said one morning, handing me a stylish silver band. And I have labeled all the safe foods in the pantry. Green sticker means completely safe, yellow means check ingredients first. The level of care and attention to my health still felt foreign. At my new school, Mrs. Wilson had helped arrange a 504 plan, ensuring my teachers and cafeteria staff were aware of my allergies. I carried an EpiPen in my backpack, and for the first time, I didn't feel ashamed about it. My parents, required to attend family therapy sessions, were slowly beginning to understand the gravity of their actions. The changes weren't immediate or easy, but they were happening. "I've been reading about anaphylaxis," my mother said during one session, her voice small. "When I think about how close we came to losing you," she couldn't finish the sentence. Kate visited often, our bond stronger than ever. She'd become my fiercest advocate, even starting a food allergy awareness club at her school. "You should see Mom and Dad's kitchen now," she told me during one visit. "They've gotten rid of everything you're allergic to. Dad even yelled at Grandma for trying to bring shrimp to Sunday dinner." The biggest surprise came 3 months after my hospitalization. I was sitting in the school cafeteria at my designated allergen-free table when Jessica Chen, the most popular girl in my grade, sat down next to me. "My little brother was just diagnosed with peanut allergies," she said. "My parents are freaking out. Would you mind talking to them? You seem to really know how to handle it." That conversation led to more, and soon I found myself running a support group for teens with food allergies. The girl who had once been silenced was now helping others find their voice. During one of our mandatory family therapy sessions, my father finally broke down. "I was wrong," he admitted, tears in his eyes. "I was so focused on maintaining this image of a perfect family that I couldn't see I was hurting my own daughter. Every time you tried to tell us about your allergies, I saw it as a threat to that perfection." Dr. Reynolds, our therapist, nodded encouragingly. "And now I realize that real family means protecting each other, not forcing each other to fit some mold." My mother reached for my hand across the office's coffee table. I let her take it, feeling the trembling in her fingers. "We're taking parenting classes," she said softly, "learning about medical advocacy, emergency response. We want to earn back your trust, Amanda. However long that takes. It wouldn't be an instant fix. Trust, like healing, takes time." But for the first time, I saw genuine remorse in their eyes, not just embarrassment at being caught. 1 year after the shrimp pasta incident, I stood in front of an auditorium full of parents and educators, sharing my story at a district-wide health awareness event. Mrs. Wilson sat in the front row, beaming proudly. Aunt Claire was filming everything, probably for her blog about guardian advocacy. Even my parents were there, sitting quietly in the middle section. "Food allergies aren't a choice or a bid for attention," I said into the microphone, my voice strong and clear. "They're a medical condition that requires understanding, support, and immediate response. But with proper management and a strong support system, they don't have to limit anyone's life." After the presentation, a young girl approached me with her parents. "I'm scared to tell my friends about my allergies," she whispered. "They might think I'm weird." I knelt down to her level, showing her my medical alert bracelet. "Being different isn't weird," I told her. "It's just part of who you are, and the right people will help keep you safe." Looking up, I saw my family watching. Aunt Claire with her proud smile, Kate giving me a thumbs up, and my parents, still learning but trying their best to make amends. Later that night, as Aunt Claire and I were making dinner in our allergen-free kitchen, she asked if I ever thought about moving back home. "Mom and Dad have made a lot of changes," I acknowledged, carefully checking the ingredient label on a new spice blend. "But I'm not ready yet. Besides, I like it here with you." She hugged me tightly. "You're always welcome here, kiddo. Safe space, safe food, safe love." That's what it all came down to in the end, safety. Not just physical safety from allergens, but emotional safety to speak up, to set boundaries, to exist exactly as I am. My medical alert bracelet caught the kitchen light, sparkling like a reminder that I was no longer invisible, no longer silenced.